Hi, I'm Jasmine, and welcome to my Watch My Story YouTube channel. Please make sure to give us a like and subscribe so you get notified whenever we upload a new video. I'm from a South American country, and my story is full of ups and downs. I grew up in a rich family. In fact, my father was so rich, but I never felt the meaning of being rich. Not only me, but my sister and my mother never felt like we were from a rich family anyway. We had a mean and a nasty father. The only good point about it was the house we were living in, which was so big. My father never had any sense of love or affection for any of us. On the other hand, my mother was from a weak family who experienced poverty. Therefore, she couldn't stand up for herself against my father, or in other words, nobody taught her how to defend herself, so she was subservient to her husband. And my dad, who was a total ass half the time, was harassing and humiliating my mother constantly. For example, every night he brings some beautiful girls with him to the house and flirts with them in front of my poor mother. He was literally treating my mom like a slave. When his side chicks were with us in the house, he would scream at my mother saying, "What are you looking at? Go and prepare dinner for us, you stupid bitch!" My mother was tolerating this situation for a long time without saying anything. She didn't even know how to defend her rights or how to even complain about what my father was doing to her. My sister and I also couldn't say anything either because we were so little. Each night, something would happen in our house. My father would do drugs and gamble with his friends. His friends were also assholes. All of them were only friends with my father because of his money. They would also bring some girls with themselves to our house for my father to get laid. My sister and I were so little when we witnessed all of this, and to be honest, it was bothering us so much at the time. We couldn't run away or leave everything behind, nor did we have work and money, so we had to adapt ourselves with the situation. I never understood why my father did not pay any attention to us. He was constantly harassing, yelling at us, humiliating my mother, cursing my mother, and other things. The strangest thing was that, for example, he would tell my mother to clean the house, or after having sex with random girls, he would tell her, "Clean this room, you dumb bitch!" At that time, there was no social media or anything where my mother could defend herself or get her rights against my father. But now, everything has changed. Women now know how to defend their rights and do not allow a man to show the slightest disrespect to them. Well, we did not know about these things at the time, and my innocent mother was just adapting and dealing with humiliation, unfortunately. My story does not end here. My father's friends destroyed our lives. I will explain how. Do you remember I said that they used to smoke and gamble with my father? Ironically, they would bet on very important things. My father had so much money and jewelry, and whenever his friend came to our house, he would gamble with them. And long story short, his friends would bet on everything and they would win it. Once I remember my father lost 1 kilogram of gold to his friend. Do you even know how much 1 kilogram of gold costs these days? That's not the end of the story. My father was losing all of his money and his friend made him do drugs simultaneously, so he was an addict as well. He was basically losing everything that he ever had. On the other hand, because he was constantly losing money in gambling, he would get angry and gamble again with his friend to get his money back, but he would lose even more. And this was the way how he was wasting all of his money. It was originally a fortune that my father's grandfather had painstakingly provided for his children, and my father was wasting all of it at once. Long story short, things got out of hand, and all we had left was the house we were living in. And guess what? My father decided to invite his friend to gamble over the house we were living in. If he loses, he has to give up the house, and we would have nothing left. That day, when my mother heard my father's voice on the phone inviting his friend to come over for gambling, she tried to talk to him out of it. She fell on the ground to his knees and said, "I'm begging you, please don't do this. We have nothing left." My father pulled his leg away and said, "Get lost! Who the hell are you to tell me what to do?" Since my father was addicted to drugs, he had no idea about his surroundings. He was thinking with himself that he should make a big bet to get his lost money back. It was late at night, and as you can guess, my father lost. When he lost, he shouted and cried. He fell to his friend's feet and said, "Please, do not take my house from me. I beg you, I have nothing left." But his friend, who was also a bitch, insulted my father and said, "It's over now. You and your family have to get out quickly. This isn't your property anymore." My father was crying, my mother was crying, me and my sister, all of us were crying. My mother told them, "Please don't do this. My children and I have nowhere to go." Something very unexpected happened. One of my father's friends named David said, "Okay, the house is for you, but Steve has no right to be here. And from now on, the house is for you and your kids." As soon as David said that, my sister and I stopped crying, and my mother was shocked. We all were staring at David in surprise. My father said to David, "What? What do you mean?" David told him, "You do not deserve this life and this family. Get lost. From now on, this house belongs to your wife and her children." My mother, who was still confused, said, "Wait, what do you mean? I don't understand." "We have to kick David out of this house first, and I'll tell you later," David said. My father, who was crying and begging, was thrown out of the house by his friend. I was heartbroken at first because he was my father after all, but I also felt relieved because we were finally free. After my father was thrown out of the house by his friends, David explained that when he saw how my father treated us, he and his friend made a plan to take my father's property from him and give it to us, me, my sister, and my mother. On the other hand, they brought us everything they won from gambling with my father, all the money and jewelries. My mother, who could not believe it at all, cried and hugged David and said, "Thank you. Thank you so much. You saved me. You gave life to me and my children again." David said that he did what he thought was the right thing to do. "Take care of your children and your property," he told my mother. Long story short, that strange night ended. In less than a few hours, the path of our life is gonna change forever, and we will be the owner of this house, this money, and everything. My father, however, kept coming to the house, crying and begging for forgiveness. But neither of us, nor my mother, accepted him. And we even called the police once, and they took my father to the custody for causing disturbance. After that night, I never saw my father again. I mean, there was no sign of him anymore. We weren't sad. We were so happy. My kind mother was now happy, and our life had become very good. 2 years has passed since that incident. My mother goes to the gym and takes care of herself, while me and my sister are also hanging out and chilling together. I am most happy for my mother after all the humiliation and harassment in those years. She can now breathe and live a happy life. Well, this was my story. What do you think? Leave a comment for us.